Hello there, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of the Anime Discussion Podcast, where we talk about the Fate movie that may have scarred me for life.
There you go.
It was a pretty brutal one. Like I was not okay for hours after my first viewing, and I watched it again today, and I still don't think I'm okay. We won't have a lot of footage of the movie that we're showing for two reasons. One, I'm still currently downloading the copy that I ripped off my Blu-ray because I forgot that I didn't actually have that on the computer that I stream this show from, and also my C drive was full, so I had to delete the previous movie. So it's got 6 minutes left on the download. But I guess we can kind of go around and talk about our initial thoughts. Mara, are you okay?
You know that gif of the fox like looking down at its phone and then staring back up at the screen and looking down at his phone? That's kind of like one particular revelation in this movie. I was like, I don't think I can. I don't know how to.
Yeah, and there's like four. There's like about 4 moments that it's just like, no. Yeah. So, what do you guys think? Is that the reaction that you assumed that we would both have, KJ and Astreus?
I mean, yeah, it's a pretty it's a sharp turn because like the mood is already pretty dark as is, and then it just kind of takes that.
Yeah, I think though that the first movie kind of had a similar tone to Fate Zero, whereas this was just like, no, this is a horror arc here. Like,
we're going darker. We're going deeper.
Significantly darker. And so it would be the kind of thing that especially if you just watched Unlimited Blade Works and you're like, yeah, no, it's cool. It's kind of like Demon Slayer or Bleach or almost a little bit like Dragon Ball, you know? I mean, it's a little bit darker, but ultimately it's about a hero realizing that what he's doing is the right thing and that he just has to believe in himself.
Yep.
And this is just like, well, buckle up. Because if you thought this was an okay thing to be watching with your 12-year-old son, you might have some awkward conversations to have with him afterwards.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess from memory, because I did recently watch the movie. It begins kind of relatively like low key, especially after the kind of explosive end of the first movie. You have Shiro kind of running after Saber in his dream, and then he sort of just wakes up and things really slow down for like the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, because essentially he's running after Saber and he keeps kind of seeing glimpses of her, and then he kind of I love the sound design whenever the shadow shows up.
Yeah.
Like it cuts the sound out and it just center frame, red and black, and it stands out from the rest of the framing just because there's a lot of white, a lot of gray, and then it's just red and black, really strong colors. Center frame, and it immediately draws your attention to it. It's great. And again, I love how it cuts the sound out, and then he's like, "What's going on? What in the hell?" And so there you go. And that's essentially your first like 2.5 minutes. I'm actually watching it as just to make sure we're on the right track, and you are.
Well, correct. Here, yeah, I guess you can lead the conversation then, because oh man, it says disc full again. What? It had up to 2 minutes left, and then tells me disc full. I hate that when you're downloading something from Google Drive, you can't set a destination drive. It's like no, this you want this going to the downloads folder on your C drive. Trust us.
Yeah,
it's like,
weird.
What do I even have?
You got to change it in your browser.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's really obtuse like that, where you have to actually change it from the browser. It's annoying. Yeah, and you are right though. It's kind of funny because the movie isn't like it's not that dark yet. It's actually pretty. It's like, okay, first movie, second movie, okay, it's a pretty even keel as it were.
Well, I mean, it's still darker than UBW for most of UBW.
True, but I'm just saying compared to the first movie, it's pretty pretty in keeping with the general tone. It really does not take a nosedive until it sort of like lulls you in, which I like. It takes its time. It kind of lulls you in. It's just like, oh, we're going here now. It's it's something I will talk to one of our friends about on the 31st about a book that I had her read, where it kind of toys with your expectations in that way, where you're kind of like, is this person this way? Is that person this way? And then when it lulls you in, it stabs you and gets you right in the gut, and it's like, ha, gotcha. Yeah, I really enjoy it when stories do that, because it kind of keeps you guessing, it keeps you on your toes, and in that way, it keeps your attention. It keeps your attention, which is really great, because it, gluing you to the screen in that way, you'll pick up on certain things that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise, which I think is a really nice way to do it. Plus, it's only 3 movies, so it's not going to be as detailed as UBW, because UBW literally has, what is it? It's 24 episodes with 3 double-length episodes, Caleb? Is that correct?
It's,
I think
25 total episodes.
It's 25 total episodes with 3 double-length episodes, so the total length is technically 28 episodes if you choose 2 for the double length. So obviously a lot is going into UBW in only 3 movies, for heaven's feel. So it's really important that they grip your attention and keep you focused to everything that's going on, because you pick up on a lot of fun stuff. For example, the next scene, when Shiro wakes up and has his breakfast with Sakura, you'll notice that she's wearing Rin's clothes, which is kind of interesting. They're wearing like the reds and the blacks of the Tosaka family, which is your first little wink if you haven't on it yet. If you haven't seen Fate Zero, you don't know, but if you haven't, this is your first little hey, something's going on there. We'll get into Shiro being a dense motherfucker later, but yeah. I guess initial impressions, like the first act, in terms of like what were you thinking, Mark? Were you like lulled into that like sense of like, okay, I kind of think I see where this is going?
Well, I pretty much expected that things would more or less be unfolding like the other Fate shows, probably more in keeping with the tone of UBW. But like I said, I was not really ready for some of the stuff that happens later on. And I wouldn't say that anything that happens in the first act, or even the majority of the second act, I wasn't ready for. Like, it was kind of only when Sakura and Shiro have a night in Shiro's room that it was like, oh, okay, well, this is getting pretty risque. I wouldn't say dark for that scene in particular, but as you know, that sort of seeds some things that progress a little bit further. Man, I don't even know what I can free up here. Sorry, I'm still trying to scour my C drive for the problem with having as many like games and stuff and drives that I have is I don't know what's installed on what. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I can actually delete that will legitimately save me some space here.
Yeah.
Well, but I don't know. I guess do either of you guys have the movie queued up that you can share your screen?
I mean, I have the movie queued up. If you want to share my screen,
yeah, you can share it from the tools at the bottom.
Hang on.
We're giving KJ too much power.
No, you guys all have
Look
this
at
power.
his face.
Share screen is not a secret power in StreamYard. It was always right
there. If I stop my cam and pull up the screen and full screen it, and then turn my cam back on, will that work?
No, you can just you hit the share button, and then you just go share screen, and then you can select either entire screen, window, or even just a specific Chrome tab.
Yeah.
So what I can do then? Okay, cool. Because I don't know how happy they'll be if you know where I'm getting this from. So.
Yeah, try to not share anything. Well, I guess there's not really any flat out nudity though.
Do you see it?
Yeah.
Is it sort of just an image? Okay, cool. Good job. It's just I didn't want to. It's not a copy of my Blu-ray. I'll just say that much.
Oh, you don't have to worry about.
Don't have to worry about.
You don't have to tell YouTube where you got the footage. But
Okay. Okay. Well, what's also nice is I can just kind of screen it and single frame it and not play a whole lot, which is nice.
Yeah, there you go.
We get the full screen. Just kind of. Oh yeah, this is the. I was joking with Caleb when we were watching this one. I was like, motherfuckers playing like, what is it, Map Finder or what is it, where you like have to find the locations based on images.
Yeah.
I was like, this motherfucker's just like, temple, street, car, buildings. What's going on? And I'm like, all right, buddy, you studying for the geography quiz? What's going on now? It reminded me of Waver when he's like pointing to the map in Fate Zero and he's just like trying to figure out where Castor's at. Very similar actually, because he's trying to figure out where. Who is it he's trying to track down, or is he trying to figure out?
He's trying to figure out what the shadow is.
That's
and so
right.
he's like trying to piece it all together, and it's kind of funny because it's like he tells Sakura, he's like. She's like, you don't have to go out anymore, right? No, actually, I have to go out more now. And like her whole, everybody's seen the second movie. Her whole plan was to keep him from going out anymore.
Yep.
So
he's like, no, she's about to go down, so I gotta go out more now.
Yeah.
She just looks at him like,
there
you
it
ruined
is.
my plans.
Yeah, I love the look on her face. Now, I will say, did either of you pick up on that? Did either of you be like, wait a fucking minute? And did your brain make that leap?
That what she said was like super creepy.
Well,
like she's
creepy,
purposely
but...
doing it because she's got some ulterior motive. It's like kind of like picking up on that, but like not what it is. Just
not
like,
quite sure about.
I did.
The whole shadow.
I did think it was pretty clear there was a link between Sakura and the shadow. Like that seemed pretty clear even from the first movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, mostly.
Didn't you say something last time?
I might have, but I think I would have to.
Yeah,
remember
you
the
said
context.
you said Sakura's got to be Ryder's master.
Oh yeah, like I thought that was pretty clear by what happened in the first movie, and I didn't realize that they didn't explicitly state that. But I mean, I guess when you figure that Shinji is the other master, he's, I guess, technically Sakura's brother, or at least her stepbrother. They live in the same house. I know from having seen Fate Zero, I guess this is, you could say, a Fate Zero spoiler, or like spoiler that was a result of me watching Fate Zero. I knew that Sakura had like the crest worms and was being raised by the Mato.
Yeah.
But so like it only made sense to me that, okay, if Ryder is back from the dead and is saving Shiro for some reason, then and this being the Sakura arc, it would make sense that, okay, so I guess Sakura is the true master of Ryder. But
yeah, okay, now while we're talking about Ryder, I'll just go ahead and pause the question now. Who is she?
Well, the only person that turn people into stone is Medusa.
Yeah, that got super easy when she did that. The magic eyes of petrification. I was like, oh, so she's Medusa then.
Yeah.
Now, do you know why she's Ryder class?
I mean, like, does she eventually have a big snake that she rides or something? Like,
well, I'm curious about that.
I mean, like, we've been making the joke that like the super sexy dominatrix girl with the cleavage and the purple hair is Ryder because she's like slutty, but like, is that actually it?
Doesn't somebody say something like so she really is Ryder, or that really is Ryder? Who was it that said that?
They figure out why. I can't remember. I think it's Reen that says that. It's about her mobility, because she does have pretty high mobility, but the fact that she's Medusa should, some things should click. Also, mystic eyes. Another
the mystic eyes of petrification. Sorry,
mystic eyes of petrification. Yeah.
There's actually quite a few Kara no Kyokai references in this movie.
Yep, connections and all that stuff. Yeah, that's why. Watch it, and there's some connections.
Again, the keys. They keep coming back with the keys.
Yep, pretty much. To be fair, though, L-Dub, they don't really explain that, and that's one of the shortcomings of the movie. They just kind of gloss over it because it seems like, and they lampshade the fuck out of a scene that's about to happen, and I'm gonna bring that up.
Oh, I got notes about that.
Okay, cool, good deal. But yeah, to your point, Wade, it's sort of like she doesn't like to use them, but they don't explain that in the movie, so it's essentially a plot hole because they don't explain it. Yeah, she should use her eyes constantly. Because if she did, they would have won the grill war already. They would have just petrified everybody.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, like, unless do mirrors reflect it? Like, because it probably wouldn't take too long for somebody to figure that out.
Well, I mean, the question you need to really ask yourself is like, if mirrors are real if our eyes aren't real? And so there's that whole thing where it's like, I don't know.
But because wasn't it in Clash of the Titans?
Clash of the Titans where Perseus uses a shield.
Yeah, the reflection turns Medusa into stone, essentially.
Yeah.
I think there may be a slight issue with her using her mystic eyes more than that one time. Sakura, in terms of her mana, I don't think she has very good control over usage of her mana.
I mean, they directly established that in the second.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like Ryder had to show up in the first movie in one of Shiro's dreams. Yeah. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to the whole mana connection thing. It's like, what was really going on in the first movie, guys?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would also say, to be fair, though, in terms of it giving her away, kind of. But, I mean, if I was a mage, I could technically have those eyes. I mean, if you haven't seen El Malloy's Case Files, maybe you don't know what I'm talking about. But, like, I mean, I could buy those fucking things if I really wanted them. I mean, they'd be expensive as all hell. I'd have to probably spend a bajillion dog years to get it. But, I could get it.
A bajillion dog years.
A bajillion dog years. I just gotta toil away. But I could get it, But yeah, okay. So this is another scene that I like, but they should have probably extended it. Just because I really enjoy it. Thank you for the super sticker, Coconut, as always. The black market is a beautiful
Sorry, I'm
place.
still trying to uninstall things. I realized Nier Automata and Warhammer 40k Space Marine were both installed on my C drive, and I think if I get rid of those, I should be okay.
Just don't get rid of Warhammer for the Emperor, man.
Well, no, I mean, I can always reinstall it on another drive. It's a Steam game.
True.
Honestly, Nier Automata is the bigger pain in the ass because I'm probably going to have to mod it to make it functional again.
Yeah. But
I heard that they might have fixed the Steam version. I don't know.
I think
I had some mods that made it look really nice too. So,
so I guess how many of you were sort of taken aback by this scene? A little bit.
Oh, I thought it was hilarious when she jumps on him.
Yeah.
Shiro! I was like, what the hell? I was like, what is happening right now?
I think that's a consequence of Ufotable cutting a lot of Elia content. Ufotable, I don't think they like Elia all that much, I guess, because they like really trimmed down her shit in UBW, and they also trimmed down some of her shit here, which is actually not a good thing. The last time you saw Elia, she was fighting Shiro and talked about Berserker violating Saber's corpse, and now she's like, hey, Shiro, how's it going?
Yeah,
if you don't know anything about Elia as a character, and if you haven't played the visual novel, it's gonna take you a little off guard. You'll laugh because it's a funny scene, and you're like, oh, that's fun. But it's sort of like...
does she bounce back and forth between being like murderous and...
Holy shit, Wade. That is something literally only I am going to understand, and that's fucking amazing. The Tien of the Fate series. The only difference
like from Dragon Ball?
No, the only difference is Brandon Sanderson actually likes Tien, but never mind.
I made this
Stormlight Archive reference? Or?
I think it was. I think he's referring to Tien, because I know I had him read Way of Kings. Maybe he is referring to...
I had some notes from when we watched this.
Yes.
KJ paused the movie and monologued about the lack of Elia content in Ufotable's adaptation.
Because
he even talked
she's
about
such an
how
important
audience
character.
attention spans for movies have gotten longer. Lamp shading in quotation marks. Wah wah Lamau.
It is lamp shading. Literally, it's like they refer to the scene as being like, oh, that's kind of, oh, here we go.
Yeah, that's the moment right there.
And so,
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
yeah.
Well,
And
yeah,
so,
it is kind of out of left field where she goes from being a child of the corn to, hey, big brother.
Yeah, he did mean Tien from Dragon Ball.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah.
I was right.
I thought he
got
meant Ian
juked.
from Stormlight Archive, and I was like, that's fucking hilarious.
You got
Especially if you've read all 4 books, you know that's actually really funny. But yeah, it's just like they don't seem to give Elia a lot to do, and she's such an important character. And instead of adding a couple more scenes, because the thing is, and I talked to Kayla about this, audience attention spans for movies have been going up. For some reason, their attention spans when it comes to shows go down. And I think it's because of binge culture, where it's like, I want to see the next episode. Let me just consume this media, vomit it up. I'm going to move on. And so they could have added like an extra 4 or 5 minutes, add a little more Elia stuff, and just avoid the whole lampshading thing. I don't like lampshading. It's lazy writing. If you just point to the audience like, man, that was crazy, wasn't it? And you're like, yeah, okay. It's just, it's kind of like, okay, all right, that's fine. But
well, I did think, I guess, like, as much as this did come out of left field, I think that they at least wrote it in a way that it seems to make sense why she doesn't want to kill him anymore. Because she's just like, yeah, well, like, first of all, Masters only fight at night, so you're good now. And then he's like, yeah, well, like, I thought you said Masters fight at night. Like, what are you going to do? And then she says something to the fact of, well, you don't have Saber to protect you. So if I wanted you dead, it would be over in an instant. I would be able to kill you immediately. Yep. I just don't want to kill you anymore. And I think that at least was set up a little bit when she thought she had killed him, and seemed to feel really underwhelmed and have a lot of regret about it. So I think that kind of characterized that, as much as she always seemed to think that she wanted to kill Kiritsugu and Shiro, that maybe she realized that when she got what she wanted, it's like, oh, but they're actually my family.
Yeah.
And like maybe seeing them die at my hand is like, oh, that was that didn't make me feel as good as I thought it was going to.
Well, in that regard with Shiro, but then I also believe that she's been brought up by the Einsburns with lies about Kiritsugu.
Yeah.
Because she also wants to kill him, and Kiritsugu hasn't been back, Dad hasn't been back, so who's she gonna who else is she gonna believe when no one else is there to refute whatever the Einsburns are telling her about Kiritsugu? Yeah. And that comes back up a little bit later when she overhears what's her name talking to Sakura, describing Kiritsugu and what he was doing for those years.
Yeah. Again, I guess because I like this scene, but I wish it was a lot more than it was. The scene should probably be twice as long as it is. They should have avoided the whole lampshading thing, because Shiro's like, you suddenly started hacking away at me. Now you want to talk? And Ilya's like, yeah. And I'm like,
I think they should have condensed the scene into a minute.
It already is a
it's not very long.
No, it should have been even shorter. I think it just to hear you rage about it. We spent more time talking about this scene than we talked about the rest of the movie.
Because the problem persists until the 3rd movie. Now, Caleb, you know what Ilya does.
Well, okay, let's not veer into spoiler territory.
Why I'm agitated by this, because of the stuff that she does.
We'll find out.
So, we'll get to that.
Andrew Matthews for 5 English pounds, though, thanking X-Ray Girl for getting me through the last level in Halo. I think anyone who saw my pro star level Warthog driving would know that it was me who got her through that final level. And yes, honey. She's in another room too. That girl's got great ears. But yeah, no, we've been playing the Halo games, and I'd say about a quarter of the way through Halo 2 now. We just got past the first Arbiter section, and
Yeah, I'd love to go back and play those games.
That's,
Good
I
old
guess, how
Halo.
she heard us if she was
Yeah.
watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are quite great.
I guess like what's confusing is that like Ufotable doesn't rely on the Stay Night like Studio Dean adaptation of Stay Night, but here they are relying on your understanding of Stay Night's Ilya. Because they're really just kind of like, here's the movie. We don't really care too much if you understand who this character is, what she's done, what she's going to do.
Yeah.
We're just gonna do this little scene and cut it here.
Yeah, and so like that's my issue is because like a fifth of the dialogue is lampshading, and then they have a nice conversation, and you're like, oh, this is really cool. They're gonna talk about like Kritsugu, and they're gonna talk about the Grail War and all that stuff, and then it cuts. In the visual novel, this scene is like 5 times longer. I think I haven't played the visual novel in a while, so L-Dubs can confirm. He's played it sooner than more recently than I have, but this scene is a bit chunkier. And I think it's in a different location, but I don't care about that. But the conversation is kind of important. It's a lot of character building between the two of them because Ilya is a really important character. I mean, she's even really important in UBW for the 2 seconds she shows up in that one. And that's honestly one of my biggest complaints about UBW is that for as important as she is, well, what's funny, Kez, is that they include that in this movie, but they keep it silent. So she's like, but there's no audio, and you're like, I think she's singing there, right? So yeah, it's
maybe
funny.
The director really did hate Ilya.
That's my thing. I'm like, did these people? I wonder if Ufotable was just like, fucking Ilya, can we delete her from this entire goddamn movie? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe they just really fucking hate her.
Is it actually supposed to be pronounced UFO table?
Is it not pronounced UFO table? I just say Ufotable, but
I mean it's like their logo. It's all lowercase, so
yeah.
I mean, and not spaced out. But anyways, what Andrew Matthews was saying here about when she alt tabbed, X-Ray Girl alt tabbed out of Halo to like check something that Tugs was telling her to check, and she could not alt tab back into the program. I think it was something to do with her like Windows Defender was kind of blocking some things with Halo, and it kept on glitching her out. So I basically had to beat the last level that we were playing of Halo 2 entirely alone while X-Ray Girl was just standing still and looking straight ahead on her stream. It was interesting. But don't alt tab when you're playing the Halo Master Chief Collection, or disable all your antivirus software.
Yeah. Now, to your point, Gabriel, you scholar, you gentleman, is that I was arguing, and I talked to Caleb about this, and I briefly mentioned it, that like audience attention spans are going up from where they were in like the early 2000s, late 90s. And so they didn't need to cut anything. They could have just added a little bit. And so that was my thing, is that like it wouldn't have really lost anybody, because like Spider-Man No Way Home is like what, 2 hours and 40 minutes or something. Like it's a meaty movie. You didn't see people walking out of that. So I think genre movies can be longer now because they're essentially mini TV shows. So, that's just me. I don't know if it's 2 hours and 40 minutes, but I know it's
Thank you, Eric K, for the Pro Star moderating too. Smash the like and show your love. Thank you, Eric. But yeah, so I guess what's our kind of next big sequence here? Just because we have a lot to go through, and I have a feeling some of it will be talking
the
about
nightmare sequence of
dream scene.
Yeah, her seeing
like
Tokiomi and Reen on the opposite subway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Aoi.
And then
try not to play too much visual like motion, because we got claimed right off of YouTube last time, and I don't know if you've seen the mirror upload, but I had to mirror the entire thing, so our names are written backwards and everything. It's kind of distracting to look at. Yeah. But if anyone wants to watch our first episode, I recommend listening to it as a podcast or watching it in a mirror.
Oh, there you go.
That's the
hack.
But
yeah, that's the big one, is the nightmare sequence, and then they're running after Sakura because she has a fever and she's feeling sick, and then you get this one, which is the
Oh yeah, so this is where we find out through implication the identity of Ryder as Medusa. It's also where we find out that Sakura is in fact Ryder's master. And I had figured that out just because I thought it was the only thing that made sense. I suppose there's also the imagery link that they both have purple hair. I don't know if that was intentional, but funny enough, they have the same hair color while Shiro and Archer do not. So that's, when they are in fact the same person. But this was an interesting scene I found because Ryder dies kind of again. Like Archer gets her good, and there was a really great shot where Archer's smashing through the window, and it's almost like at first you don't even really realize that Reen is like right there with him. It was done really well, as if almost like Ryder's her stand from JoJo, and is just like kind of hovering behind her or something like that. It was pretty cool. And but yeah, I think that's it was a pretty good fight scene. I think revealing the mystic eyes of petrification was a pretty obvious way to show why Ryder wears that blinder mask, and B, pretty sure that it was very obviously Medusa, because I don't even think they don't even actually say her name though, right? It's just like that. It's very clearly Medusa, because like who else looks at you and turns you to stone in all of any mythologies? But wait, Eric K says, Mark, you should be able to capture the video, the copyright video, and just mirror that and overlay it on top to fix it. Yeah, I mean, part of that was just me like doing it the quick way, because someone had messaged me on Twitter asking why they can't watch the episode because it was blocked. So I just mirrored the whole thing, put a mask over the footage, and then put it up. But we would, in YouTube's defense, I guess, for claiming us, we got spoiled by Unlimited Blade Works, which is the previous show we did, where we could almost just let the whole episode play and would never even get a claim, never mind a strike. This wasn't a strike, it was just a claim, and then we got blocked, so the episode wasn't accessible, and that's not cool, because I want people to be able to at least listen to the episode. But the important thing that happens here, though, is when Shinji breaks that crystal, and then it breaks the earring full of that solution on Sakura, and her magic, I guess, like her mana, just kind of starts going berserk, and she starts creating these like three-dimensional star-shaped, like black star-shaped things that start stabbing everything around her. And I thought that was new. I didn't really expect that. It kind of makes a little bit of sense why Sakura doesn't stand up to him if Shinji does have, or did at least have, that power over her. And we'll get back to that later. Keep that in mind. I'm not done with it yet. But I thought that this was a really interesting scene to change the stakes of the whole series and reposition Sakura's role in this arc, which, again, like saying as we knew, it was the Sakura arc. Obviously she was going to have a bigger role than she had in UBW, at least. But I don't know, I guess though nothing too crazy happens here though. Would I be wrong in saying that? Like this still seems like if it was a scene in Fate Zero, it wouldn't seem overly dark. Even UBW, I wouldn't say would seem too out of place.
The little black balls should have been like a little bit of a nod, a little bit of a hint
about the shadow.
Yeah,
although they didn't have that red to them. And they didn't, although I guess they did have that kind of otherworldly look, the way Ufotable did the animation, where I think you put it, I think it was you, Caleb, who said about the way the shadow looked in the first movie, that it almost seems like it doesn't belong in this show.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way of doing that. And that we've seen that style enough that it is an element of the show, so it does, but it almost seems like otherworldly and would seem otherworldly to the characters in the show, which is kind of a difficult thing to do with animation, unless you're doing just 2D hand-drawn animation and you all of a sudden have a 3D animated character. Like, that would seem out of place, but this was... Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think they actually played with, like, the pitfalls of adding 3D animation where it doesn't belong. Because, I mean, like, those bookshelves, for example, are 3D. Those are 3D renders that they've put textures over top of.
Mm-hmm.
But when they did the shadow, they make it stand out in a way that, like, 3D animation done poorly would kind of do. But they do it in a way that actually works.
I think it's the flat color. And another movie that I think did that really well to create a distinct look for its monsters was Attack the Block with
John Boyega.
With John Boyega, and I think it was Joe Cornish who directed it, who was like one of Edgar Wright's friends. I think he was like a cinematographer on Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz,
yeah. Cop Out's the Kevin Smith, Bruce Willis movie. Hot
Kevin
Fuzz, though, Hot Fuzz is a much better movie.
Yes.
But I think Joe Cornish was like the cinematographer on those movies, and he animated that. But the monsters in that movie they're like furry monsters with black fur, but the type of black it is like absolute absence of color. Like, it's a black kind of unlike most of the black that you see in movies. So it made them look pretty distinct and actually stand out even in nighttime scenes. Like, they could be walking by a shadowed hallway and they would look darker than the shadow. But then the contrast they had is their teeth would glow. So every time they opened their mouths, you would see these kind of going blue teeth. And I think the shadow in this with the black and red sort of stands out in a similar way to me, at least.
Yep. Also, they mentioned that Sakura uses imaginary space and numbers, right, in this movie?
Not in this movie.
No, I don't remember that. And I just watched it again this afternoon. I don't remember them saying about imaginary space.
You stated that when we were talking about it, but it was never in the movie.
She definitely has a scene towards the end of the movie where she is in an imaginary space of her own, which is not the place where she actually is, and it's not the stuff she's actually doing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, I'll have my say when we get to that scene. But yeah, I was watching this going, am I on drugs?
Yeah. Oh gosh. There was one moment in this fight though that I think is really worth noting where Ryder kind of kicks Shiro across the room, and then you see him like look at Shinji as he's flying through the air, and Shinji just kind of has like a look on his face like, oh wait, fuck. And that was Shiro's little shonen moment where he grabs the knife that Shinji is holding, and then decks Shinji, and it was a very satisfying right cross that he threw at him there.
Oh yeah.
Really threw his body into it.
Oh yeah.
Didn't keep his guard up, but still overall good form.
Yeah. Oh goodness. Oh, my man, my boy. We laughed so hard during this scene. Not because of what's going on, but just because of like the metagame with Kirei. We were just laughing so hard. We'll get to why we were laughing in a second, but this scene is great. Being like, well, I'm out of the game. I used all my command spells. They're gone. Kirei, my boy. Yeah.
Isn't that kind of a lie because he didn't have the command spells before he treated her?
Aren't they on his other arm anyways?
Well,
he lost Lancer.
Well, no, because he has all those from Fate Zero. Remember, like Risei gave him like a shit ton.
That's what I meant. I thought they were on his other arm.
Yeah, he's got like 45 of them. He's got a shit ton of them. Not anymore, but he did. Yeah, because Risei gave him a ton of it. But yeah, he's just like, he's talking about the crest worms. How sickening was this scene? Ugh.
I was like, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's sort of what we knew about the crest worms from Fate Zero, and I think Zoken even says like every inch of her had been violated the way they put it, and which I guess not going into any greater detail when you were talking about which was at the time like a 5-year-old was appreciated.
Yeah,
but here they say like, yeah, no, like when the Crestworms go after a woman, they violate every inch of her and then start eating her from the inside out. And you're like, whoa, okay, Kirei, we get it. God.
Oh, he enjoyed the shit out of explaining it too. He was just like,
he's really getting that dig in on Shiro, like.
Oh, and Reen as well, because he knows they're related, so he's just like. Yeah, but LW, he's like
magic scabies.
Yeah, no, LW, yeah,
scabies
are just
scabies are subdermal though. They go in your skin. They don't go all up in you. Like,
and I don't want to get into an alignment.
Tapeworms.
I want to get into an alignment argument with you, Wade, but Kirei is quintessential neutral evil, also known as the most evil alignment of all. If you run into someone neutral evil, fucking run, because they're fucking evil. Far more so than chaotic evil or lawful evil. But anyway, he enjoys the shit out of this. But we weren't laughing about that because it's whoo boy. I mean, this is like this is a fucked up scene. Yeah. He's like,
one thing that was interesting there is that seemed to be like adult Reen or sorry, not Reen, Sakura or like at least teenage Sakura. So does that like. But then Kirei said that the Crestworms had been in her for 11 years. So does she still go down to the pit with the Crestworms?
They put her down there like
regularly.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Continue.
I guess we kind of get into that a little later. Zokin kind of explains why.
Yeah.
In the third one?
No, in this movie.
Does he explain why they have to keep it? Because I thought the reason why Karia in Fate Zero was swarmed by as many Crestworms as he was so they could do it quickly. Like within hold on, sorry, I just moved the chat out here and I started playing it so you would have heard an echo of me. But yeah, I thought that they sort of hit the gas pedal on Karia's Crestworm therapy training.
Oh yeah, no, they pressed the gas on that.
So my assumption was the year that they did for Sakura was kind of all that needed to be done, and then the Crestworms would just be inside her for that long, working slowly and making her more powerful. Whereas with Karia, it was just like, no, you need to be like down there for like a year straight, and we're overloading you with as many. Get all them Crestworms in your butt, Karia.
Oh yeah.
Right up the butt.
Well, with Reen, it's more like a slower process and all that stuff. But I
Sakura,
love,
I keep calling her
Sakura,
Reen too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We spent too much time with Reen during UBW.
Yeah, UBW. Yeah. This is the first thing that made me laugh so hard when he was like, "Well, that's something you need to rely on the Holy Grail for," and I just started laughing. I was like, "Fucking Kirei."
Yeah, that's if you're gonna manipulate someone into
Sigma male Kirei, fucking male. Alpha, the Sigma grind, my man, is just like, well, you need the Grail for that, so I guess you got to get back to fighting, buddy.
And it means so much more later on.
It's so funny. That's not the last time I laughed during this scene too, because Kirei is just so delightfully. He's such a wonderful bastard. Like, Reen's like, I gotta kill Sakura. She's a mage out of control. Even if she's my sister, I gotta do what must be done, and she's like, oh, she's your biological little sister.
I realized at this point Shiro didn't know in UBW at all.
Yeah.
I don't think he ever, well, if he finds out, it's like not in this kind of situation, of course, but not during the show.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, well, it's.
I do have my copy, but if you want to continue running the video, you can. I have no objections.
Okay, I'll just finish it up this time, and then we can just switch back to normal for the final movie. But
okay,
this is the only route where Shiro puts two and two together. He literally has to be explained it though. Like, you think he would have picked up on like the ribbon in her hair or like something, or Sakura being like, this is the second time someone close to me has given me something so important. You think he would start asking questions, but my man Shiro, he's distracted by those massive hunters, I guess.
Well, I mean, I've been explaining this to X-Ray Girl. There's something about those E-cups that makes us want to just put a ring on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
she didn't hear that one, it seems.
Yeah. and then you have the explanation of like, I get I got the Tosaka magic, Green got the Mato magic, and then this made me laugh so hard because we were like, you gotta find it.
You gotta find the frame.
The frame? Oh yeah. Yeah, when they're just like, where'd she go?
Go ahead and play it so that we can like see her leave.
There he is, motherfucking Kirei.
Is it? Oh, he's smirking.
There's a close up of his face. There's a close up.
That motherfucker left that window unlocked.
Yeah.
He
oh
did
no!
it.
How did she?
How did she escape? That motherfucker left the window.
Probably
open.
just said your
it
sister
zooms in
is
on his
probably
face,
going to want to
just
kill
a
you.
second from now.
Yeah.
Scoot it forward just a little bit.
There it is. He's just like.
He's like, I did this on purpose.
That's the look on his face. Is I did all of this on purpose. Fuck you guys. This is funny, and I couldn't stop laughing. I was laughing for like 5 minutes because the picture in my mind of Kirei like sneaking into the window, being like she's still asleep, and just kind of unlocking it and just being like, and then just slowly walking back, just made me laugh so hard because that window was locked. It was locked, and he specifically like made sure it was unlocked so she could get out.
It's like the pranksters of this route are the Three Stooges, because we've got Zoken who's like, this Grail War is already distorted, so time to fuck it up even more.
Yeah.
And then we've got Kirei who's
this
like,
is kind of interesting.
I gotta do some stupid shit. And then we've got Gil-kun, the prankster.
Oh, the prankster.
So I guess if you let Rin kill Sakura playing in the visual novel, it then kind of reverts back into the UBW timeline, or
I think it's a bad end. I think
that's
just
a bad
stops.
end. Yeah,
I think it just stops.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
There are a bunch of bad ends.
That's like one of those things. Speaking of actually Nier Automata, that I recently just had to delete from my C drive. That's one of those things that when people are like, "Oh yeah, no, I heard there's like 30 endings in that game." I'm like, "There's 5." The other 25 are like bad endings that just give you a text and then all the people at the robot camp died.
And it's like all perished.
Okay, cool. Okay. I guess that's an ending, but like,
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Oh, so good. So yeah, we have the scene, the big scene, and yeah. So reactions to this one when she talks about attempting suicide and being raped multiple times. Woof.
Is that this scene that you're on?
It looks coming up because Ilia's like, you can't find her, right? And she's like, I'm gonna help you, Shiro.
Yeah, again, and then I mean,
helped this scene.
Technically, she does. I mean, okay, are we talking about this scene or the scene when they get to Shiro's?
When Shiro.
Well, shouldn't we talk about this immediate scene where?
I mean, does much happen there except for they're like, yeah, I'm gonna help you now.
Ilia performs the appropriate gesture as the gesture as the elder sibling by giving him head pats.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah, Ilia. Because again, Ilia is technically older than Shiro, so it's funny that she's head patting him. And yeah, but she's like, I'm gonna help find you because I'm on your side. And and then she's talking about, well, I was gonna kill Kiritsugu and you, but
we did kind of talk about this one in the previous Ilia scene where I think that she's just like, okay, well, Kiritsugu's dead and Shiro isn't a threat to me, so I felt bad when I thought I killed him earlier, so maybe I'll just help him out. But as for though, I guess we got the hold on here. Skip ahead to the actual part.
There you go. This one.
Oh yeah, okay. So it's here because I didn't know which one we were going to be talking about yet.
Yeah, because Ilia's like, I'm going to help you find her. Then he finds her, and then she just starts rattling off like I tried to kill myself a few times, and I wanted to leave you and never look back, and I wanted to pretend I didn't know you, but I can't do that. And then she's like, I'm not a virgin.
Yeah, but
she's like, my first time was a long time ago, and you're like,
she doesn't technically say that she was raped, though. She only says that she's not a virgin and that the first time it happened was a long time ago. Yeah. And at this point, I thought she was talking about the crestworms. I did not realize she was talking about something else until basically the end of the movie. Like,
yeah. Because she is referring to the crestworms, where she's also talking about, you know.
But yeah, well, and it's followed up. This is following up the scene where we just heard about the crestworms violating her. So it's like when she's like, "Yeah, I'm not a virgin," Shiro, like that. And like, I mean, I guess like I don't know if it's just me, but like if I'm in high school and a girl that I'm into is like, "Yeah, I'm not a virgin," my first thought is nice.
Yeah. And
so you're saying there's a chance.
You're saying there's a chance. I think her main issue with that is that like she probably thinks like Shiro is, like sees her in a certain way when she's just not that person. And there's
at least in this movie, it doesn't seem like it throws Shiro for even a second.
It doesn't.
Like I sort of think that Shiro might be on he's kind of on the same like tip I would be on, which is just like, okay, well, I'm into this girl already. I already like her. She comes out and she's like, I'm not a pure virgin girl. I'm so sorry, but I enjoy having sex. It's like, oh no. Anyway,
what does it mean? Oh, sorry.
I was thinking like, must be different cultures or something, because like you say, like you say that here, and it's like your reaction is and pretty much it's just like.
Well, I mean, I guess like there are definitely cultures even in like America and Canada. Yeah. You have like people that are devoutly religious that actually would be like, oh my God, no. And it's like, well, I mean, I don't know. Like, granted, also they're in high school, so it could. It is the kind of thing that you could see there being a bit of like surprise in it. I find it hilarious though when you get people that are maybe not my age, but like people in like their mid-20s who they find out a girl they're dating isn't a virgin and they're pissed off, and I'm just like, dude,
it's okay.
Come on, like what are you doing?
But it's like it's not just that she isn't a virgin. It's like her. Like Kirei just explained, her soul has literally been consumed.
Yeah. And
so it's like she's kind of like in a different type of like defilement than just like of the sexual variety.
Yeah, although at the same time, if you're thinking about the world that they're living in, and you've just been explained that these crestworms are like living magic circuits, and the Mato family does it to like amp up their mages, I think it would be a lot easier to, in your head, not think of that as something about her sexual history.
Don't think about it. Don't think about it.
I mean, not think about it as something that is even indicative of her sexual history, and more just like, okay, no, that's one of the things that her creepy mage family does.
Ugh,
weird, but
creepy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
get some of that later on with him. Just like, there's some great scenes.
So we will touch on these topics more later.
Like,
oh boy, good old
what's most important about this scene is that
he says, "I'll be a hero of justice for you alone."
Yeah, so that's kind of like this is the kind of like the turning point for Shiro as a character.
Yeah.
Because now he's a hero of justice for one.
Yeah, so I'm going to get into this now. You knew this was coming. What's interesting about Shiro as a character and how he fits on like a standard alignment grid is that all Shiros, even the Oath Under Snow Shiro, pivot from the original Saber Route Shiro. So original Fate Shiro, Saber Route Shiro is your quintessential lawful good. He's essentially like Shiro version 1.1. He's essentially just a general version of Kiritsugu's ideal, but not really his own. Now they talk about in UBW, right, where it's like your ideal isn't your own, all that stuff. And he's like, well, it started out that way, but I changed the ideal to more be like my own, and all that stuff, because that's a big part of UBW. So UBW Shiro switches over one slot to more neutral good. So he clicks one slot over where he's more like Shiro 2.0, where he's he takes Kiritsugu's ideal, he updates it, he twists it a little bit and makes it more for himself. And he wants as many people to experience what he felt that night when Kiritsugu saved him. That release, that relief, that hope. He wants to give that to a lot of people. What's interesting is that Heaven's Feel Shiro still comes from the standard Saber Out Shiro. He just flicks one spot down instead of one spot to the right into the lawful neutral. Because again, he abandons Kiritsugu ideal and then reforges it, kind of revitalizes it, revamps it, and makes it where it's very different, where he becomes a hero for one. He becomes a hero for one person and one person only. There's everybody, and then there's Sakura.
So I don't agree that he goes Ari of Kiritsugu's ideals. In the sense that Kiritsugu at the end doesn't hold to that ideal anyway.
Yeah.
He says, he wanted to become a hero of justice, but when the Grail spilled over and he could only find Shiro, that one person, he said, what was it that he said in Fate Zero? He was happy.
I'm glad
to just
I found one person.
He was glad he found one person alive.
Yeah.
To save.
But but the thing is that that's not what he tells Shiro. The way he defines his ideal to Shiro is more like this, less like this. Which is what makes Shiro such an interesting character, which is why all the routes are really dynamic, and that's why I like him so much. Because of the way that he
see, because I think I could spin that a little bit in terms of like lawful neutral and lawful good. If we want to go with this alignment chart, in a way, Kiritsugu actually goes up to good, because his original ideal was not a good ideal, and the Grail kind of proves that to him. That what he had in mind was not actually a good ideal; it was a selfish ideal.
But that's what I'm saying is he clicks up to here, gives it to Shiro, and then the Saber route Shiro keeps it wholesale, staying here. UBW he modifies it, and in Heaven's Field he almost sort of switches back to how Kiritsugu acted towards the end of Fate Zero, talking about being happy to save just one person. Again, that's why I love Shiro so much, is the way that he reforms and recontextualizes and reevaluates Kiritsugu's ideal, not in the Saber route, but in the other two routes, where he takes it and kind of molds it in different ways, which is really interesting, because that's sort of, I don't know, it's really cool. I like that Nasu wrote the same character 3 different ways. And then you have Oath Under Snow Shiro, which is just straight up lawful evil. I'm not going to explain it, because I'm the only person here that's actually seen Oath Under Snow. That's the only evil Shiro. It's neutral, lawful evil. He's a oh boy. But yeah, I like Shiro a lot as a character. The way that
as a characters.
As a characters, it's really cool that you take the same character, the same ideal, and then you kind of play with it. Not the Saber route, again, they don't really do that a lot. But in the other two routes, the way that they mold it and the way they recontextualize it and reevaluate it is interesting. Heaven's Feel is more of a deconstruction of the standard hero of justice ideal, far more than UBW is. But yeah, there's a lot to love here. Yeah, I love that he's like, I understand you're a bad person, but that's okay with me. I am okay with that.
I like him bad.
I like him bad. I like him down bad.
No, show me those E-cups.
Well, yeah, I love that he gives her back the key, and yeah, boy, there you go. Oh yeah. And then of course, this is interesting.
Archer's probably just like, well,
no, this is interesting.
I didn't see that coming.
Well,
like,
he says
to be honest,
something very
I
telling.
sort of thought I was going to end up with you.
Yeah, well, he tells something. It's very telling, because
If you're going to hold on to your ideals, then you have seen the result. If you're going to change your ideal,
if you're going to choose a different
you'll
path,
lose everything and anything.
There's no future for Shiremiya. You lose everything and anything and everything. What's interesting is, again, Archer's route is the Saber route, but he doesn't really romance Saber, and he fails to save Ilya. So his words are very telling when he talks to Shiro in that scene.
So Archer's past is the Saber route? Like the Archer that's
we
in
talked
this
about that
in UBW?
We talked about that briefly in UBW, remember?
It's not exactly the Saber route.
Because it's not exactly the Saber route. And
all
that
Nasu
Nasu has said is that it's like the Saber route. He's a little bit more distant to Saber, implying that he doesn't really romance her, and then he failed to save Ilya, and that's pretty much all he said. That's the very, very vague. But it's interesting that the way he frames it like that. So again, that's very telling when he's talking about how, like, hold on to that person. And, all
that stuff. L-Dub says, yeah, what Archer says here is still a bit cryptic to me. I think at least at this part in the movie, it should be cryptic because right now he's modified his ideal. He hasn't abandoned his ideal. So he's still holding true to the hero of justice thing.
Yeah, he doesn't abandon it yet. He's going to, but not yet.
At the same time, this Archer very clearly doesn't want to kill Shiro.
Yeah. Well, he was.
Why did he want to kill Shiro in UBW?
To stop him from becoming the hero of justice. So I guess now that he's decided to become a hero of justice for just one person, he's just like, oh, okay, well.
Well, also when the shadow shows up, he's like, I can't. I need to put my personal stuff aside this time. So he basically being like, yeah, this is a different route. No,
I don't remember this.
I don't remember this. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember this, and also I guess here we can tackle that in the arm scene later on. But I have some thoughts. So here, this was the an interesting scene because it seems to start out like Sakura is going to say like, "Come stay with me tonight," and instead she just says, "Can I just drink a little bit of your blood?" So I don't know if there's a direct answer to this, but are the Matos lost apostles? Like, is that what the Crestworms do that? Like, are they the same as the other vampires that are in this universe? Or are they a version of that?
I didn't hear all that, Caleb. You can take this. My headphones.
Well, I think you might be able to answer that question a little better than me.
Is Sakura and Zoken and the Crestworms, are they lost apostles?
No. They're not dead apostles, no.
Dead apostles, sorry.
No,
what did I think? Lost apostles. Anyways, but yeah, because her wanting to drink blood was pretty. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can transfer mana using blood, but also I remember in Fate Zero there was that scene where Karya calls Zoken an old vampire, and then it wasn't until like 20 episodes later that we find out, oh wait, there actually are vampires in this universe.
By the way,
and
in that scene when they're torching Kiritsugu's island.
Yeah.
Alba, Cornelius Alba, the guy who dies in Paradox Paradigm, Akar no Kyokai, makes a cameo.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. Huh, neat.
They zoom right up on him, and they don't name drop him, but they just zoom right up on him. So if you've seen Akar no Kyokai and you go back,
they go back to Fate Zero, I'll be like, oh, shit.
I know who that is.
I know when you die.
Yeah, you die in like 3 years. Yeah, but
I think the way Saber, and the way Sakura sees it here is like she pretty much wants to fuck him at this point.
Oh, yeah.
But if she's asking for blood, that's an easier way to transfer mana than to have sex, because that's pretty much what's going to happen if she gets physical contact with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she's kind of like, I don't want to, do anything more. I'm gonna, fucking dirty him. I shouldn't push this any further. Now, what pushes her over the edge is actually Reen, which we'll get to. But yeah, Sakura is not only down bad, but she's a jealous bitch. Holy shit!
This scene was funny.
Oh yeah.
Like, so yeah, so basically it's a very one of the only like slice of life scene in this entire thing where it goes back to seeing Shiro and Sakura cooking together, and then Shiro kind of looks across the table. He's like, "So are you gonna eat any?" And
it's Ryder.
it's Ryder.
It's Ryder just sitting there.
Just like, no,
okay.
like we don't really need nutrients. And then he's like, yeah, but Saber used to eat with us all the time.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, I don't know how to use these utensils. They give her a knife and fork and spoon.
Yeah.
It's beautiful comic relief because we really need it at this point.
Oh yeah, because it's gonna get a lot worse. So it's just like a little bit of levity, probably a good idea. I heard a great voice, as if millions of Japanese voices cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I fear something terrible has happened. Oh man, yeah. And they're talking about. Oh, this is another one where I'm like, Shiro, come on, man, how dense are you? Zoken has assassin, and
Yeah.
oh wait, maybe we should go visit Ilya.
Yeah.
She already said she was on your side, dumbass. Why
Yeah.
haven't you already visited her?
Yeah,
at
that
this
seemed
point?
like it was written in kind of a weird way, where it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, wait, we definitely have on our side Sakura, Rin, and Ilya.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all who's left anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anyone left?
It's kind of easy to narrow. Yeah, Lancer's gone.
Yeah, aside from Zoken and the assassin, is any other master left? I don't think there are.
No,
at this point.
Castor and Saber are part of that
Mm-hmm.
shadow or whatever you want to
Yeah,
call
yeah.
it.
So they're
And Lancer's
effectively
gone,
gone.
so there would be 4 left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Who new body, who dis?
Yeah.
Yeah. Seriously though, who dis?
Who is
Yeah.
this?
Like, this?
Sakura? Oh,
Well,
I
yeah.
mean that's right.
Have you
mean,
ever
well-
seen Sakura look like that?
Yeah, I mean,
No, I mean like there were like subtle moments where I was like, "You're creeping me out. I don't care. Like you're like E-cups aside, you're creeping me out."
She looks like a real Mato right now.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
It kind of
what's changed? Like, I mean, what she says in this scene is kind of creepy because it's where she's like, "Yeah, if only he didn't leave," and then she masturbates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like the look also reminded me of like Cheeky from Garden of Sinners. You know, where she
Yeah.
kind of have that kind of like zoned out look, and she
Yeah.
looked at you and going and like, "Yeah, I'm gonna turn around now,
Yeah.
and walk the other way."
Yeah. So, yeah.
All I have to do
Yeah,
is
that's what I
move
meant
on.
by what she said is creepy, where she's like, "I just
Yeah,
have to
what
keep
was
from
this
going
talking about?
outside, and everything will
Yeah.
be all right."
Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave that there.
Like,
There
it's
you
Some,
go.
Yeah.
Reminds me
well,
of
I mean, she's
What
better.
this?
She's
What
definitely
this?
more attractive than Kathy Bates's character.
yeah, I
from
was gonna say
Misery.
Misery. Like all I gotta do is
Yeah,
oh my gosh,
Misery,
like break both
Misery,
just break both his
Misery.
legs, like Kathy Bates in Misery.
I think
Yeah.
Kathy Bates also has E-cups.
Oh hell yeah.
Oh well, yeah, but
But
that's it's not the same.
but
Yeah,
like-
well, I'm not gonna kink shame you, Estrella. So yeah,
Mm. I love that this was a great oh shit moment for people that hadn't played the visual novel but were anime only in the theaters, where you heard some like like you heard some whispering and you're just like, you didn't even know the half of it, man.
Just keep watching.
Keep watching, it's gonna get way worse. Yeah. So did you guys figure it out at this point? Like were you like, oh, wait a fucking minute, hang on?
Again, like
Shadow,
I was
Sakura.
already pretty well. I mean, there was this. Have we already seen the part where Shiro hugs her and then looks at her shadow and it kind of goes?
That's coming up.
that's coming.
That
up.
hasn't happened yet.
That hasn't
No,
No,
happened.
it
so this is
hasn't
before
happened yet.
that.
This is before that.
And, I, and
Okay.
like, and like, if I was Shiro and I'm seeing this, and I'm like, dude, like, I know, like, you want to look past her flaws, but at the same time, it's like, when you have your like girlfriend shadow crackling like that, like maybe
wait.
take a step back and reassess the situation.
Okay, Mara,
Roll it back just a
there's a thing that all men want. It's called a big titty goth
I know,
GF.
but still,
The shadow.
Still,
Shadow.
it's like I'm not saying like necessarily like don't go for it, but just step back and reassess, like do like a little bit.
We gotta play
Dive
that.
in head first until it blows up in your face. That's the move.
I don't know if I can say necessarily the exact quote from Robin Williams. But he said like, God gave men a brain and a dick, but only enough blood to run one at a time.
One at a time, yeah. Yeah. The way
that
it
shadow
moves
ain't walking
also,
away, that's for sure.
It's sliding, yeah. The way it slides gives it away. You're like, okay, wait a minute. Again, there are some anime onlys where I was like, yeah, boy, here we go.
Okay, here a worthwhile question though is: did the shadow and Sakura with the shadow attached to her, like, were they around during UBW and just nothing happens that brings them forward?
No.
Or
Zoken decides to act in this route.
Oh, okay.
Well, what? Yeah. I mean, what is it that brings forth the shadow?
Yeah, that's a good question. What brings forth the shadow? What makes Zoken be like, I'm gonna press this button, go, flip the switch? What makes him? What makes him?
Well, I don't know. What is the thing that happens which
What's
makes
different?
so? I thought that the turning point was Shiro getting injured and then running into Shinji and Ryder and fighting them and defeating Ryder early. Is that it? And then Zoken is like, okay, Shinji can't handle this.
Yeah, kind of makes sense. Yeah, it's like, okay, Shinji's an ass.
But I mean, like, Ryder gets defeated pretty early in UBW's route too, so I don't know that would be enough. But I don't know. Is that explained any further in 3? Because I don't want to veer into spoiler territory. We've only got one movie left, and depending on what time X-Ray Girl goes to sleep, I might watch it tonight.
Caleb?
It may be revealed a little later on.
Oh, you tease. I like that. You're fascinating to talk to.
Did you know people die when they're killed?
Fuck no. I know now, though.
Wow.
Well,
Mind
Disney
blown.
Star Wars taught us anything is no one's ever really gone. So.
No one's ever really gone.
Somehow the Emperor has returned.
Yeah, I know.
Oscar
This is
Isaac
why
was
sometimes
probably
old
just like,
people-
I can't believe I'm saying this line in a film.
Sometimes old people need diapers. That's all I'm gonna say.
They lose their worms.
They lose their worms, and you're like, shit, I need to pick those up now. Oh yeah, it's so good. I don't want to risk copyright, so I won't play it. But
This was interesting though, where he was
Chef's
basically
kiss.
saying that he's been rotting for what we assume is a very long time because they refer to him as, is it Makiri is the name there?
Makiri. Yeah.
Makiri, and he's talking to Ilya as if she's like one of the original Einsburn elders, and then he's like, yeah, no, like, you're just a puppet. You do sound like your ancestors though. So we can assume that Zoken's been around for quite some time.
Zoken is very old. Yeah, that's all I'll say.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Yeah.
I forgot how much is in the third movie, honestly.
Yeah, I love these movies, but man, they pack
They really
a lot.
backloaded it.
They backloaded it, but honestly, I really wish this was a series. Like, just 20 episodes. You don't even have to give me double length episodes like UBW. Just give me like 20 episodes and I'll be happy. Just put a little bit more into it, please. Because there's a lot in the Heavens Feel. Like the visual novel.
Well, I mean,
there's a lot.
These movies are pretty stacked as far as like what's going on in them.
Yeah.
I mean, I just like thinking about how many like action scenes are in this movie alone was kind of blowing me away, because I was rewatching it today thinking, oh man, I got to be pretty close to the end, and then I would like hit the Y button on my Xbox, which is what I use as a Blu-ray player, and it popped up and I was like, geez, I'm halfway into this. Like, I've already seen like 2 pretty intense action scenes, and oh yeah, there's this one and then that one, and
And this one is like really. I love the score to this fight.
Oh yeah.
The score.
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
I think that the score is like the action is great, but the score is like what makes it because of the. And I love that like Saber's look, because you have that visor over her eyes. Like reminds me of like one of those like I don't know what you call them, like the knights wear, like the visor on their helmets, but it's like just like the visor part.
Yeah, only the visor and no helmet. Yeah. That is she looks very creepy too. And I think it's kind of interesting that it doesn't seem like, at least the way this route is being presented to me now, and again, don't spoil it if I'm wrong or right, really, but it doesn't seem like saving Saber and getting her back on the good guy's side is like even a goal anyone seems to have. Like no one's talking about that. It's just like, well, yeah, I mean, Saber's gone. It's like this is the first time that evil Saber has just stayed evil.
Yep. This is another little treat for people who have seen UBW or know who Archer is, because like when he's like, oh, you're a lot like the servants and stuff, like, like, well, technically, not really.
Yeah, I'm
so then when he shows up again, you're like, yeah, I figured that was gonna happen.
I'm not a pure servant.
Yep, Archer's a special boy.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts is coming up after this, where he's like when Archer saves Shiro and Ilya. And he basically just tosses Shiro on the ground and like just gently puts Ilya on the ground, and Shiro's like, "You're a dick."
Yeah, like I'm literally you.
A note I had for this is that this is the kind of power that is expected from a Saber class.
Yeah,
like this is what Saber should have looked like.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's sorry about that, everybody. I'm sure that my mic was going nuts there for a second. But yeah, Saber was really going all out here. She seems to just be like she's not hiding evil Excalibur at all, and she's just like throwing Noble Phantasm blasts left and right here.
Yeah, if Kenneth did his mana share with Solo in Fate Zero, and he had Saber, it would be very different, because the amount of mana that they have compared to Kiritsugu is like way higher. It would be a very different story if they had the Saber class, because this is what Sabers are supposed to be like. Because remember, again, pound for pound, Saber is the strongest class, and so Nastu had to figure out a way to sort of hobble her. So like, I'll give her to Kiritsugu, and I'm going to give her to Shiro. Because you see how much stronger Saber becomes immediately in UBW when Saber forms a contract with Reen. Mm-hmm. She's immediately way stronger.
She's like, oh yes,
yeah. And so it's kind of one of those things where it's like you kind of have to. I think when he wrote the Saber class, he realized like, I need to figure out a way to kind of keep her from being too strong, because again, like Saber is intense. Oh yeah, there you go. Shows up and cracks, which is great. So good. He just walks away. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then leaves the assassin. Goes away.
She does use Excalibur at the end.
Yep.
You see her mouth move. Is what she's saying.
Yeah, Excalibur. Yeah. You can't just do a sneak attack. To be fair, though, Assassin is acting like a real assassin.
Yeah, it's like, what's my class there, Reen?
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah. So good. This is a good fight too.
Yeah. Be careful though. Again, they're not. Well, they're not shy about claiming this.
What's odd is that a chunk of the Saber Berserker fight is on YouTube. So like. And there's a scene in the third movie where most of it's on YouTube. So I don't know. It's weird. The way
you could look at it this way. Like, I got claimed on my review that I did of Tenet on Geeks and Gamers. Mm-hmm. I got claimed even though I was only using trailer footage and behind the scenes footage that I pulled off of YouTube. So it really just depends on who the copyright holder is and how crazy they're. I mean, it's not like I'm sure Christopher Nolan wasn't claiming my review, but whoever the dogs that are, the interns that work at Warner Brothers that are like, let's see who's reviewing this movie now. Oh my God, that guy used too much footage. Copyright claim. Let's get that ad revenue. I'm just like, man, I'm writing a relatively positive review of your extremely convoluted movie. Like, just to stop trying to take our ad revenue.
Yeah.
The same thing happened to me with the Ghostbusters Afterlife movie. The copyright claim was lifted, but at the same time, I literally posted it, and like 10 seconds later, I get the email saying that like copyright claim has been. And I was just like, all I had playing on in the background was the trailer. So just so there could be like video footage.
I think that if it's trailer without cuts, some companies, I think in fairness, I don't think most Marvel movies this doesn't matter for. You can just kind of play the whole trailer. But they have an algorithm that just detects if they're like, I think what they're worried about, I don't agree that they should be, but is people just uploading the trailer to their YouTube channel, monetizing it, and then people viewing the trailer there instead of on the Sony Pictures Studios YouTube channel. Now, I don't know how much ad revenue Sony needs to be pulling in from the Ghostbusters Afterlife
I don't
trailer.
know. I'm saying like barely.
Is that really churning out like the? I mean, I guess if it's getting a couple million views, like that's not nothing.
Well,
but...
like nowhere near that. So I'm saying like I was like basically I'm lucky if it gets reached 200 by now. It's
no,
like,
I meant if the trailer on their channel is getting 4 million views, then they want to just ensure that they actually will get that many. But at the same time, it's like, well, but do you think Jade Shadow's channel is going to really be pulling that much of your traffic?
Yeah. Like, dude, have you seen my sub count? It's
well, and I mean on the
I'm saying like to Warner, like Sony or Warner Bros. Like, have you seen my sub count? I'm not pulling anything away from you guys.
For our Fate Zero stream too, though, I submitted a claim saying, like we frequently say this show is on Netflix and you should watch it along with us week to week. Therefore, I'm encouraging people to engage with your show on Netflix. I'm not really making that much money. We're playing little clips of footage with no sound. Like I'm not just showing people Fate Zero and then eating popcorn.
a lot of it's algorithmic AI. It like matches up the pixels to different videos that have claims already or that have. And like it's essentially when claims are made by the AI, it takes what it got from that last claim and it builds a catalog of what it's looking for. So like if you play what it's looking for, it just immediately catches it.
Remember when we didn't have like this shit to worry about?
When the bots weren't coming for us.
Yeah. Pretty much.
All right, so now we see Shiro's arm has been hacked off, and So Archer, so does Archer do what he does? What Archer does is cuts off his own arm to let, I'm assuming, Reen take care of attaching it magically, because there's no like doctors or surgeons on hand, and we know that he's a compatible donor.
Well, he uses what's left of his mana to merge. Like he binds it to Shiro.
Oh, okay. Himself. Well, you don't see that happen. You just see him cut off the arm, and then it hard cuts to him back at the house. But does he do it because he knows that if Shiro dies, he's just gonna die anyways? Like he's gonna fade away, or because he says if I don't do this, you'll have 2 bodies to bury instead of just 1. So I'm assuming that means, hey, if Shiro dies here, I never become a guardian, I never become an assassin, I never become an archer, I never become a guardian spirit, and I never become a heroic spirit and get summoned.
Well, I think he's concerned about Reen.
Is KJ gone? It seems like
he went to the restroom real quick.
Oh, okay.
I think he's concerned about Reen, because it's like if Shiro dies and Reen is left alone, Reen's probably gonna get taken out.
But Archer would Archer have died if? But I mean, Archer would be there to protect Reen, wouldn't he? And wouldn't Archer be more capable of protecting her than Shiro?
Well, he's a servant. Even though he was kind of like protected from the shadow, he's still going to be taken by the shadow if he doesn't die of his own accord.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was kind of like he has to kind of sacrifice himself to save Shiro, or becoming integrated into the shadow and lose both Shiro and Reen in the end.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah. So now we have him with the Shiro hair again.
Yeah.
That happens at the end of UBW. Which it's funny that every time it's plot relevant, his hair gel loses all of its efficacy.
I know, right? It's just like, my hair gel, it failed me.
He never really got to be an archer either. That's what's really sad about Heaven's Feel for Archer anyway.
He got to use a little bit of archery, but wow.
He becomes an arm.
Yeah.
He does have a really sweet eye on the bone of my sword moment here, though.
Oh yeah, when he uses Roias, yeah. Pretty badass, yeah. And then he's I'm gonna save you, and I love this. What have you been up to, Sakura? You hurt your boy again, and you're a needy bitch. Tisk, tisk, tisk. And he's just like, I got a little hurt. Sorry. Oh man.
I don't know if she's more concerned about the arm or the two women at his side.
Well, Ilya's not happy. Because
No.
like, Ilya knows. Ilya knows one grail to another. You know. She knows.
This is the
What?
the real Grail wives.
The real girl wives of Fiyuki. Yeah, she's just like, I know what you are. Don't hide it.
Mhm.
And they don't have to say anything. You could just tell on her face that she's like, she could just see the plot. Like she just knows.
This reminds me of the Spider-Man meme where it's like they're both pointing at each other.
Yeah, they're both
That's
pointing
like-
at
this
each other.
reminds me-
Yeah.
Staring daggers at each other.
And here's the scene that makes Sakura be like, I'm jealous and I need to fuck him.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, Sakura knows how to win a trial of lovers.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, she gets very jealous when she hears Reen telling the story of her watching the high jump guy, though.
Mm-hmm.
And
she's
she's like, okay,
my memory, and, like-
let's put an end to this little competition.
Yeah. Where, because like in this way, it's not really a romantic thing. Because Shiro and Reen are more friends in this route than anything. And so it's not romantic for her, but for Sakura it is. And Sakura has that sort of like,
Yeah.
nah.
Well, she does say like, I was so scared that you would end up falling for Big Sister. And like, so she does see Reen as a threat and decides to neutralize that threat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 'cause she's like, oh, here's a classic Shiro moment. Fucking hell, man.
In the tub.
I bet my arm's okay. Bro, it's been like an hour and a half. How the fuck would your arm be back to normal in that time frame?
Honestly, like if you were saying that directly to Shiro, he's like, yo, like they healed my arm with actual magic, bro.
Yeah, no, that
This is like frat bro hours.
Like, what do you mean? Like, come on.
he's like, "It's gonna be
How long should it take to heal my arm with magic?
It's all good.
Somebody's standing there like, Shiro, I bet you won't.
Yeah, I bet you won't. Oh, I'll fucking do it again. He almost drowns himself because he's a fucking idiot. I love that Shiro is smart. He's pragmatic. He's cultured in a way, He's a wealthy enough kid, middle class, well-to-do, intelligent. And then there's just this icing on the cake, which is just pure stupidity. And I love that. It's just he's just like, here's my dissertation on quantum mechanics. It's about 48 pages. Oh, sky blue. What do? And it's just like the pendulum swing of Shiro is just amazing. Good shit, man. Good shit.
I was like, that's what I was thinking. He's like, Reen pretty much said, if you undo these bandages, like you're gonna feel a world of hurt. Oh, I'm sure it's fine. And he starts taking
Shiro took that to be a challenge. He was like, I bet I'll be okay.
What he lacks in mind, he makes up for in spirit eventually.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Oh, man. Yeah. And then
Okay, so I guess now we can be careful what you share here. Although I guess there's no actual nudity though here, is it?
not really.
We skipped over Ryder saying, "I'm very fond of her."
Yeah, she just says
I'm very
I
fond
like
of Sakura,
Sakura.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I guess we kind of covered a lot of this again, where Sakura once again says like, "Hey, like, is it okay like that I want you? Is it okay that I'm not pure enough for you?" And he's like, you've got those E cups pressed up against my back. Like,
Also,
you can say pretty much whatever you want, and the answer is going to be yes right now.
It's like, yeah, what's up?
I got a real weeb moment right here because
yeah.
The Japanese that they use, specifically when he turns around.
Yeah, because there's he has no idea, by the way. Shiro, God bless you, man. He has no idea that she's almost completely naked until he turns around. It's like, bro, how did you not know? How did you not know? Motherfucker, man.
Right now she's talking about how she's unpure and she doesn't deserve to be with him, and like she's defiled and everything like that. And what he says is Sakura ga kirei da, which is translated in the subs as Sakura, you're beautiful. That's what he says. But kirei also means pure, clean, or refined, as well as beautiful. And so here he's kind of like not only saying that she's beautiful, but that like in his eyes, she's clean. She's pure to him.
Yeah.
Which
what's happened in her past does not affect how he thinks of her.
It's a good mentality to have, boys.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, it's like at this point forward, you gotta keep in mind that is his mentality. He sees Sakura for what he hopes for her to be, essentially.
Yep. And then we cut to Gil-kun the prankster. Time for a blessing. And you're like, hell yeah. This is also oh yeah, I love you, senpai. Beautiful. The other holy grail is about to be born. A child was born unto us. Hell yeah. And he just loves every second of this. My man Kirei. And Gilgamesh is like, all right, I'll go, whatever, fuck it. This is another part of the continuing chapters of Gilgamesh could solve everything if he just used fucking Ia. Just use Ia, Gilgamesh. You're fucking using.
Well, I mean, I think that's kind of the issue with some of these characters having incredible powers. Like, I mean, Riders Mystic Eyes of Petrification being like, I mean, there is an element of let's that creates a bit of a problem. I think though that
Gilgamesh, it's his pride. His pride will not allow him to use Ia because again, the beast in the river from Castor, he could have fucking murked that shit in 2 seconds if he just used Ia. Tokiomi suggests it, and Gilgamesh implies that he should kill him right then and there for even bringing it up.
Yeah, that's fair.
So it's just like Gilgamesh does not want to use Ia, even in UBW when he knows he's about to lose to Shiro. Even then, his hand clenches right before he grabs it. He really doesn't want to use it because he doesn't think Shiro should even look at it.
Yeah, it's an act of respect to be killed with it.
Which is why he kills Ryder with it, and which is why he uses Ia immediately. Like Ryder uses his reality marble, and he immediately pulls Ia out and holds it high so that Ryder can see it, from a distance. He's like holds it up high, talking about how it's a worthy stage of it's been set, so come forth. So again, it's just like he could solve everything in all three of these routes if he just used goddamn Ia, but his pride is so thick, is so insurmountably intense, and just in him that he just can't use it. He won't use it, even though he should have. When he said like Sakura, he should have just been like, and then just walk home and just be like, I solved it. I fixed the problem.
I just have Kanye West in my head now. What's a king to a god? What's a god to a non-believer?
Yeah, pretty much. Oh. But then we get the scene. I love Gilgamesh, man, where he's just like, well, what Kirai's talking about. I'm gonna I'm gonna question my god even till death. And then of course you have Sakura uses the term big sister, which causes Rin to be like,
this scene's pretty funny too, where Rin's like, "I'm gonna make you guys breakfast," and then Sakura and Shiro kind of look at each other like,
"Yep."
Should we
I
tell
also
them?
there's a great scene. I wonder if I can get to it. I don't know if I can, but Elia is staring daggers at Sakura in the background. Like she's just staring right at Sakura in the background.
Bitch, you had sex with my brother, didn't
well,
you?
she knows. Again, she knows that Sakura is another Grail because again, that's in Elia. It's that's the Einsburns thing. So Elia can just smell that shit all over Sakura, and she knows, which is why she stares at her immediately when she's coming into the house. And during breakfast in the background, at one point during the scene, you can see her. She's just staring at Sakura. She's not saying anything, but you can just tell that she's just like, bitch, I know what you are. So
you're coming in on my territory.
Yeah, this is the Einsburn shit. Yeah. But yeah, and so they're gonna go off and fix it, work on his arm a bit more, and Sakura's all like, thank you for, allowing me to spend time with Rin. I haven't really done so in fucking forever, since we were sort of separated. And there you go. And then there's right before the third act where things go fucking awful for everybody, but yeah, it's a brighter scene, which is quite nice.
Yeah, I think we're about ready to dive into this third act though, because I have a feeling we're gonna have some stuff to talk about. And X-Ray Girl does have to work in the morning, and we have a Witcher season 2 episode to finish.
Which episode?
The third one, third.
I like the first one a lot.
Yeah, the first one was good. I like the second one too, or if it's the Leshy. Yeah. I've been hearing bad things about this season, but I'm enjoying it so far.
It's book purists. We'll talk about it on the first if we do our top 10 thing. The Witcher season 2 is on there for me. It's spot number 10.
Oh, fair enough. Okay.
We'll talk about that.
Yes. Also January 1st, KJ and actually a cool guy Fonz, who from my podcast is going to join us as well, and we're going to talk about our top 10 things of the year.
Yeah,
I enjoyed season 2 overall. I think season 1 was a bit better. But season 2 I enjoyed, and I have not read the books. I'm not a purist in the sense. It's just
I'm not far enough in to really talk about it in depth, but perhaps we can discuss it.
Oh boy.
There's just something again. There's just something so funny about the way this is framed, with them being like, "I wonder if the Shadow did this," and Sakura's right behind.
Sakura's just looking like, "Yeah, I wonder too. I wonder what happened."
Yeah, I wonder what happened.
I think though, does much happen until Sakura's little dream sequence?
Oh, that's when all the shit goes down.
Yeah, because that's kind of what I want to get to.
Yeah, she's like eating, and she's like, "I can't taste this food anymore."
Yeah.
And then it's just like,
she's got COVID.
Yeah, she's got COVID.
Yeah.
Well, she's like,
the big C.
Yeah, I can feel this. I can still, feel the pleasure of this, and I want this to continue. Thank you. And
I can't feel my third dose shot anymore.
And then we get Prisma Elia season 3.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. Magical girl shit. Yeah.
Yeah, this is every single time I've done mushrooms, this is precisely what it's like.
The vocal performance,
including the end.
Yeah, the vocal performance is awesome. I love her vocal performance in this scene.
The
way she repeats words and stuff, it's just it's so good.
And go, and it's like it gets so creepy once you realize what's actually happening. Yeah. Like that I think is a great example of if you make things as soft as possible before twisting it and revealing that what you're actually seeing is brutally horrible. Mm-hmm. So basically, we kind of skipped over it there. So she's in like a Disney princess setting, like skipping through, seeing like little winged creatures and stuff, and singing or reciting like little poems.
Yeah.
And then she talks about opening up candy wrappers and eating this delicious candy. And then it cuts in on
hard
Gilgamesh.
Cut.
Yeah.
Gilgamesh
hard cut to Gilgamesh
hard,
saying,
aren't you?
Yeah, it's like,
did you see her pupils?
Oh yeah, her pupils they do some changes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like what is going on here?
Yep. And then that hard cut is just fantastic. And then it's like,
Yeah, so it's a finger that she was like a human finger. She's like just like, oh, yummy. And Gilgamesh is just like, yeah, this is mercy.
Too far forward.
Yeah.
So in this scene, this is another Garden of Sinners throwback.
Connection. Yep. Leo, his origin is consumption, eating people.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And the way he came across her too was almost the same as what's his name? He has the same voice actor as Kirei, but I can't remember his name. That guy.
I know, like the priest.
Yeah,
Soren,
or whatever. Yeah, Soren. Yeah.
This shot's really cool too. She's like, oh, look at the pretty lights.
Yeah, and then it cuts her arm off. Yeah.
We know what those pretty lights are. I guess if you have not watched anything but Heaven's Feel, you'd be like, wait, what?
Yeah, who is this guy? Yeah. 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 Boom. Cuts her arm off.
Yeah. Cuts her arm off in one fell swoop. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is getting serious. Until it gets slightly less serious because I don't think Gilgamesh even understood what he was fighting against here.
Oof. God damn. Yeah. Cuts her up and down, and then he's like, "Wow, you're still breathing. Interesting." And then he's walking forward, says he's so good. And he looks back.
He's like, "What?
What's great about that?
You didn't catch him catching himself."
Yeah, what's great about that is, it's like, shit.
It's really hard. It's like
he says, "How dare you
try
to make me kneel for you?"
So good. Where like that's his biggest concern. Again, it's just like if he just used Ia, he everything would be okay. But again, he's just so prideful. He is furious. He's like, "How fucking dare you? You trying to make me kneel?"
And it's because of it. It's because of that. Because she almost made him kneel that he doesn't pull Ia out.
Yep. And he's like, okay.
Oops.
Yep.
Angry Gilgamesh face is horrifying because he's normally, even when he's like killing people, he's always so even tempered.
Yeah. So when he gets pissed, it's like, oh, okay.
You're just like, oh god, something's gonna go down.
Yeah, and if you didn't get it at this point, when she stands right back up, you're like, okay, all right, I get it now.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the shadow.
Like, yeah.
Yummy.
Yep. Like throw in the weapons and shit, which is great. He's like, surely you haven't gone that far. And it's boom. There you go. Woof.
I wonder who Sakura is.
I don't get it yet. What is that shadow supposed to mean? Oh my god, I'd want to like body check someone in the theater who's just like, what does this mean? I'd just be like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Now, and this could have so easily been the ending of the movie.
Oh yeah, and there's still more movie.
I know, and there's still more moments that like make me go, oh my god.
I know, yeah.
Essentially a massacre.
Could you imagine walking into the movie theater and like you haven't watched any Fate content at all
and you walk into Heaven's Feel Part 2?
There it is. There it is.
And he's like, sees it, and he's like, nope, I'm gonna look past that.
The shadow. Yeah, he's like, don't look at it. Don't look at it. Don't see it.
He sees it. He sees it the night that they sleep together too.
Yeah,
he does too. Again, but
the cognitive dissonance is really building.
Oh yeah, where he's just like, don't see it. Don't see it. You didn't see anything. It's not there. But he can tell because there's something off about her. Like he knows. Like we need a
little snip of Ben Shapiro. Facts don't care about your feelings, folks.
Hypothetically, if your girlfriend was on your menu, what would you do?
Uh-oh, name drop.
Yeah, we already name dropped him in phase
Sakura literally cannot be a shadow, okay? She just can't be one.
She just can't be one. My wife is doctor, okay? Like
women cannot be shadows. That doesn't make any sense.
That's what my wife told me this. She's a doctor, okay? She went to med school, okay, folks?
Shadow. Yeah. She has purple hair. How does a shadow have purple hair? Shadows have no color.
Come on. Anyway, but yeah, so yeah, this is when he's just like, okay, this is going on. This is too much, And this is when Reen's like, her Sakura's body looks fine on the outside, but technically she's like something else entirely. Destroyed her body and potentially her brain as well. Like that's it. Like game over. And so they want to defeat Zoken in the shadow as quickly as possible. Of course, the shadow's already here. Right in the other room. It's like, well, there you go. And so what's interesting is then you have Ilya pops in, which is great.
Yeah. She's basically just like, do you know what's happening to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on now.
You have some of yourself left?
Yeah. That's where she's at. Yeah, she's just kind of like, oh, you senses? What's going on here? Because again, Ilya's been staring daggers at Sakura this entire fucking time. So like she's just been waiting for a chance to get Sakura alone. This scene also probably should have been a little bit longer. I know I'm harping on that Ilya doesn't get a lot, but she says and does a lot of important shit in this route, and this scene probably should have been a little bit longer, because this is a pretty cool scene. Talking about how you can't be saved, and then there's those are
big words from a little girl.
Big words, yeah. Then there's the revelation about Kiritsugu when Taiga talking about him with Sakura, which of course changes a little bit of Ilya's outlook on Kiritsugu, which is a nice little moment.
Yeah, I love that moment. She's like, like how sad must it have been, like you're going to see someone that you can't, like someone you care about and you can't.
Good shit. But yeah, over and over again. So good. Good shit. Move his body. So again, that's the. Have we talked about why Kiritsugu died, or have we talked about that yet?
No, I don't think it's actually been said.
Well, wait. I'll wait until the third movie. Then just remind me, and I'll bring it up because they don't ever reference it. But I'll just talk about it.
He had a broken heart syndrome.
Oh God! I read
it appears she died of a broken heart. He died just after he gave birth to the twins.
That's how it happens, okay? George. She talked about how she remembered her mother in episode 6, about how she was sad. It's fine. Are those old movies? I'll retcon it. It's fine.
We'll make some sequels that'll make everything better.
Yeah.
They didn't,
he
George.
bet wrong there.
They didn't, George. George, everything you did with the prequels was better than what Disney did to your babies afterwards.
Well, they did do a little bit of retconning, but
yeah.
No, I flat out don't like any retcons that Disney have done at this point. Even like every time I think to myself, Rogue One was pretty good. I was like, yeah, but it's still just that eliminates Dark Forces from the canon.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I love Dark Forces though. Like Kyle Katarn.
Take an Asian woman and make her.
That's a good thing.
Make her white.
That's a good thing though. I like that because I want Legends to be left alone. I am someone who does not want more Legends. I don't want it continued. Just leave it alone. It's fine. Again, because I'm not a fucking consumer whore. There's plenty of books.
No. I don't think they need to make more Legends. I think I get bothered when they go back and make it so that, like, yeah, by the way, that Legend story that you like, it's definitely not canon anymore because we're telling the same story, but it's totally different.
I'm good with that. I actually really love that. You know why? Because that means they can't mess with it.
No,
it's not canon.
Oh,
so
yeah,
that means
okay,
they leave it to the side. That means there's no Dark Forces 5 with a ton of microtransactions. They
Won't there be?
Alone. There's no more. So that's what I like. I
don't know.
Make your own shit.
They brought Jedi Knight and Jedi Academy back, so who knows if they saw big spikes in sales there. They are bringing back Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Knights of the New Republic.
No, it's actually still going to be called Knights of the Old Republic. But
another important scene here.
Being remade by Spider. Not Spider.
Like
it's not Spider. It's Aspire.
Yeah, this is the scene where I'm like, yeah, this is where he basically is just like, I'm not doing the ideal hero of justice, lame. I'm not doing this, Kiritsugu, fuck off. Where because it's like, are you gonna betray? And he's like, yep, that's what I'm gonna do, because he imagines that's UBW Shiro up there, but that's Saber Route Shiro up there, just head comes off. But Heavensfield Shiro, he ain't like that. He built different, yo. So good scene here. There's plenty of great shit where he's just like, because he knows that he should like probably kill her because she's incredibly dangerous, and Zoken even points out that like she's gonna like kill the entire city. Like you're come on, you can get close to her, so it needs to be done. And he's just holding the knife, and he just can't do it. And he gets up and walks away, and he hears his inner monologue, and he's just like, "So you're gonna betray, huh?" And he's like, "Yeah, I am, and I'm just not gonna do it. I can't do it. It's a step too far. It's a bridge too far, and I'm not gonna do it." Which is fantastic. Here's another scene that should have been longer, because the shit with Zoken and Shiro is awesome, and there's not enough of it in these movies, because their dynamic is chef's kiss in the visual novel for Heavensfield. There's so much good shit there.
Release it on Steam, Type Moon.
Yeah. It's funny because like the anime and manga market in the West is going to overtake Japan here in a couple of years, potentially by like 2023 or something. Like it's coming quick. So it's funny that they aren't releasing more shit already. You think they'd want to be ahead of the curve?
Keep doing what you're doing, Marvel and DC.
And they've made like tens of millions.
It's been fantastic for the weebs.
Yeah.
They've made tens of millions of dollars off of the Fate franchise in the United States. And they still haven't released the Stay Night visual novel here.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the thing is, tens of millions of US dollars is a lot of yen.
Yeah, that's like
billions.
A billion yen.
Yeah, so you think they'd be like, "Ooh, that's cool," but whatever. But yeah, this is a great scene. Azoken essentially is just like, "Look, I'd like you to kill that shadow. It's there you go. It needs to be done. It's got to be done." Yep. The content of the Holy Grail. Oh boy. So again, if you've seen Fate Zero, you know what that means, because Kritsugu is inside the Grail, so he knows.
So is Shiro, Ben.
But here's an important distinction to make. It is not the Holy Grail itself. It is the content.
It's the false Grail.
Well, it's the contents
of the
and
Grail.
So like what is in the Holy Grail? It's all the world's evil.
Well, and it's all
personified.
It's all
well, yeah, it's all, but there's a name for that. All the world's evil. We've used it before.
Oh, I forgot the name, but I do remember you using it before. It's like a Latin word.
Well, no, I'm referring to the entity, but they call him all the world's evil.
They actually use the name in the third movie, so that's kind of spoilers at this point.
We already talked about it in Fate Zero.
But we have not talked about it in this context here.
Important.
Angra Mainyu?
Yeah. We talked
Angry Matthew.
Angry Matthew. Dude, how can we butcher his name?
Angry Matthew
Agitated Matthias.
It's probably going to be a good way for me to remember it, though.
Let's see, Agitated Matthias. Androgynous Martha.
Have some ready for next week.
Let's collect some names.
Yeah, we gotta collect some. Oh man, yeah, but
Because I guess do we have anything else in here other than the Shinji scene?
Oh boy, yeah, because like he's like the killer, and Shiro's like he kind of knows he should, he kind of knows, like, again, UBW Shiro would be like, I gotta do it. I don't want to do it, but I gotta do it. But Shiro,
he's basically saying, he's like, yeah, no, she's just gonna keep on feeding until everyone in the city's dead. So it's like you have the choice: you could kill her or let everyone else die. And he gives it a good old college try.
Call, yeah, he makes that judgment call. Oh, so this is the scene, by the way. I referred to it earlier when it's like she sings in the visual novel. Yeah, so she's like, oh, but it's silent. Oh, here it is. there's no audio, so it's just like, yeah, they really just fucking hate Elia. They're just like, we're gonna put it in, but we're not gonna let your Seiyu voice.
Well, they ran out of budget to pay her.
Yeah, right.
Somehow they ran out of budget.
Yeah, somehow. It was
animating Angry Matthew. They had to use their bet.
It's part of the fucking taxes they didn't pay. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but anyway, it's just like, come on now. Oh, here we go. You want to go weeb on this?
Go weeb on this.
Talks about cherry blossoms.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, Sakura means cherry blossoms. For anybody who didn't know that.
Oh yeah, actually, I did know that. I kind of forgot it, but I have known that in the past.
When she says she wants to go see cherry blossoms, you could say this is reading into it, but I think that's a stand-in for she wants to be able to be herself.
Mm-hmm.
Her, like, who she is as a person currently is not actually Sakura, it's something other.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of her way of saying, I don't want to be this.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And they promise to go see it.
And then he attempts to kill her, but can't.
Yep. Oh boy. Oh boy.
He gets a big little montage of all the time Sakura's been adorable.
Stuff. Yeah, all the time she's been adorable. It's it's all the times. All the time that he imagines like Sakura and all that stuff, and he's just like he just can't do it. Again, UBW Shiro would have been reluctant, but he would have done so. Saber Route Shiro would have just walked in there and just started shanking her. He wouldn't even have been told by Zoken. He would have immediately just started throwing knives at her.
Runs in and throws
fucking Saber Route Shiro would have like fucking shot her. Like,
I have the bone of
my sword. Yeah. You tasted my bone? Here's another one. Bone of my sword. Yeah. So
he goes from killing Sakura to killing his ideal.
Yeah, exactly. He kills his ideal instead. He kills his ideal instead of killing Sakura, which is why I'm saying, like, Saber Route Shiro would have just fucking stabbed the shit out of her. Again, Zoken wouldn't have even had to convince him. UBW Shiro, Zoken would have had to convince him.
He would have let Reen kill her to begin with.
He would have been shaken about it. He maybe even would have talked to Reen about it, but he would have gone through with it. Heavensfield Shiro, he's built different. He ain't gonna do it. Which is why he hears the voice of himself being like, are you gonna betray this? And he's like, yeah. Great scene. Again, such a good use of, again, lighting and shit. I mean, Ufotable is just so good at that. God, that real masters of their craft. Because some anime, it's so flat the way it's lit. You're like, just because it's animation, like lighting is still important, right? Some studios they just have no idea. Like, seriously, watch, like, there are certain slice of life where you'll notice it and you'll be like, that's dog shit. Oh my God. So I'm ruining some shows for you now. Some like decent shows where you're just like, oh, that lighting's dog shit. Yeah. Because like Ufotable is taking the time to actually like think about, okay, the moon is going to be here. Okay, it's going to be pushed through here. So how is that going to, they thought about all that. Very Naoko Yamada.
For Attack on Titan coming up, I guess Mappa's got the work cut out for them because I've basically spent this entire year watching Ufotable stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and they've got Chainsaw Man on the back.
Oh yeah.
So they've definitely got their work cut out for them.
And then Sakura was, not really asleep. She, had her eyes closed, but she was like, she kind of knew. Which is another pretty good scene. Which is why she chooses to go home, because she's like, this is really a big emotional weight, a mental weight on him. I need to go. Thanks for what you've given me. I got to spend time with Reen, and I got to spend time with you. When it's time to go home, to my other home, And then we have the scene. So, who saw this coming? Mark?
No.
No.
Yep.
Like again, I thought all the references to Sakura being violated were exclusively talking about the crest worms. I did not realize that she had flat out been being raped by her brother.
Yep.
Like that was a pretty brutal thing to reveal. I guess I understand why it was revealed at the end of the movie, and I suppose it kind of makes her. Well, I mean, I guess it makes her cross the line into doing something objectively evil, even though like 2,000 people were killed by the, or like however many people were killed by the Shadow, because she kind of summons the power of the Shadow consciously to kill Shinji, whereas all the other times were like, oh yeah, like she's in her little magical fairyland and like dreaming and doesn't really know if she's awake or not and doesn't understand reality. But here it's just like,
did
oh
she
no.
summon it consciously?
Kind of. She does say like, I wish he would disappear.
What does the Grail do?
Kills him like immediately.
But what is the
Oh,
Grail
the Grail
give people?
wishes? Yeah, I guess technically.
There it is.
Monkey's paw style wishes.
Yep. Well, she used her final command seal on Ryder, which is a good scene.
Set her free.
Give her a command, give her a mission, and then Yep.
But so here, does this mean that in UBW that ends with Sakura like taking care of Shinji in the hospital? Like, has he still been like sexually abusing her for years prior to this?
This was
like
going on before the route split.
Yeah, this is going on before the route split.
Yeah, so like that really does kind of change the tone of that last scene, and sort of makes me wish that Shinji died in that route more.
Yeah.
Like,
well, again, in Nasu, the part of the stuff that he wrote for that last episode that they didn't include was essentially Shinji pulling Ikaria and being like, up yours, grandpa, see ya, and him just kind of fucking off because he's like done with the family and he's just like, I'm out. And so he doesn't abuse Sakura anymore because he's fucking, off doing, other shit. He's just done with all of it. So that's something that would have happened, or that does happen, but they didn't include it. They also didn't include some stuff with Rin that Nasu is not too happy about, but whatever. And so, what's interesting is that earlier in the scene he was doing alchemy, much like Waver, and he couldn't get this to glow, and then it, he's like, hold on to this, and Sakura immediately holds it. Well,
I mean, yeah, like L-Dub, sure, but that doesn't mean that he hadn't previously done anything to her.
Yeah.
Like
he did.
It makes it kind of horrible that they would even end the show with Sakura of all people going to Shinji and being like, I'm going to take care of you while you're in the hospital, my rapist. Like,
that's where you would wish that she would just take the pillow and just kind of just like
just kill him.
You're like, oh yeah, you seem really, really, really weak right now. Oh look what I just did with that knife right there.
Oops,
went
sorry.
right in your throat. That must have been painful.
So I think last when we saw this, I was like, Shinji is one of my least favorite characters in like any anime or show. Really.
Yeah, I'm very happy that this happened. This was a brutal scene to watch just because it's so heavy. But like her wishing the Shadow to kill him and the Shadow killing him, I thought was awesome.
Yeah, I don't remember how I reacted in the movie theater, but I think I like may have been like yes, audibly.
Yeah. Well, because it's also important to point out, which is another part that makes you be like, ooh, that's uncomfortable, is that in Shinji's mind, in terms of any kind of sexual assault, this is the first time in his mind that he's actually raping her.
Okay.
Because earlier she never told him no, and so in his mind, because again Shinji's not incredibly bright, he was like, oh, okay, so she's okay with it. So in his mind, they were just having sex. She just never told him no. This is the first time she told him no, and he didn't care. So this is technically the first time in his mind that he's going to rape her. Yeah, their relationship is all kinds of fucked up in the visual novel, because you can even confront. If I remember correctly, you can even confront him about it in the visual novel. If I remember correctly, maybe you can't, but I feel like in the update you could. And his response is like, "What are you talking about?" depending on the route, because he's like totally confused. Where he's like, "Yeah, we have sex. What's going?" And if I remember correctly, you can confront him about it, and he acts like it's a normal thing. So in his mind, this is the first time he's actually raping her, which doesn't make it better, but Shinji is all kinds of fucked up, and their relationship is just a cavalcade of just mess. But yeah, she kills him.
And in a weird way, this scene in this movie sort of justifies Kirei killing Tokiomi.
How so?
Why is she there?
Oh yeah. Well, again,
here comes KJ at the defense of Tokiomi.
Well,
to be fair, Tokiomi didn't know this was going on.
That's
yada yada yada.
Yo,
but
ultimately, if you send your daughter off to live with another family and you find out the eldest son has been banging your daughter that you was sent to go, it's your fault as a father.
Bro, Tokiomi knew Zoken was Worm Man. Come on,
he had money. He did not have to give up it's a little bit different if you put your kid up for adoption because you can't afford to provide a good home for them. But if it's just I can't make her a super powerful mage, and the roots was important, so I'm going to send her off with Wormy Vampire Man and his creepy ass son.
Yeah. The problem is that Tokiomi, one, is ignorant. And two, he's very trusting, which is why Kirei was able to kill him so easily. I mean, I know, the audience knows. Hell, most of the characters know that Kirei is bad news. And Tokiomi's just like, Kirei's a cool dude. What are you talking about? So he's a little ignorant. He's very, very trusting.
I mean, he is a cool dude.
Yeah, you ever talk to that Kirei guy?
Dude's
chill,
man.
Awesome. You ever have wine with him?
And
he knows his wine.
My thing is that the issue I have with blaming Tokiomi is that Karia knew and he didn't say shit. That falls on Karia. Karia should have been like,
yes,
you gave Sakura to grandfather? Bro, hey, tell you what, man. You want to check up on our training? Let's go to the basement.
Yeah, and obviously Karia's not a saint either. Clearly,
true,
by what ends up happening with Aoi. But in Karia's defense, I guess I am simping for Karia, though I hate what he does to Aoi, and I don't defend him for that. That's when he lost me. Yeah. But he also does kind of sacrifice his life to try to save Sakura.
True, but he didn't need to.
But he's still
white knight.
Objectively, he says Tokiomi's decision is something that I am now going to give up all of my life force for. I'm going to be dead within a year, just so I can save this girl because her father gave her up to a monster.
And this is the result. What we see on the screen is the result.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, the hilarious thing is it's almost like the crest worms weren't even the worst part.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Gabriel, the other thing is that Tokiomi could have given her to other families, but he wanted to keep her close. Because in his mind, he wanted Sakura to learn magic, because the issue with having two mages in a family is that they have a high likelihood of turning on each other. So he wanted to keep her close so that he could check upon her, because she's still his daughter, and he wanted to be able to kind of make sure she was okay. And again, him being so trusting, he thought the Grower was won. He knew it was dangerous. He knew he might die, but he was like, I got fucking Gilgamesh. Kirei's on my side. We got this by the ass. Again, his overly trusting nature is what gets him killed, and what puts Sakura in this situation. And again, I put a lot of this on
all
Karia.
I'm saying is he shoulders some burden of responsibility as her father, who voluntarily gave her to the household that resulted in her being violated by magic worms and literally
football
raped.
Head looking man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, he is definitely at fault. I'm just saying is that Tokiomi is overly trusting and ignorant, where Karia is paranoid and he knows.
Yeah,
and
that's
Gabriel, that's the thing. Tokiomi is the embodiment of I'm a fucking genius. Oh no, because it's just like my plan is perfect. Oh shit, my plan is not perfect. Oh fuck, I'm dead. So that's the thing. But then.
All right,
tells him no, and
the movie ends here, right?
Yeah, why does the world? Yeah, why does the world around me? Why does it hate me? And he's like, well, I'm gonna tell Emmy about this. About how much you begged me, and then. you know, he's just like, okay, I don't want this person around anymore. And of course, Zokin's just like, this is hilarious. Because he doesn't like Shinji either, so he's just like, fuck it. My grandson's dead. That's amazing.
And this is the ultimate breaking point for
Sakura. Where she just completely breaks.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, oh shit.
Well, because as I was kind of saying, this is the moment where she essentially consciously murders. Like, I mean, maybe she like meant disappear. Like, I hope he would peacefully vanish. But
there's facial expressions.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Sakura.
And then the grail sort of like falls over her, which is pretty great, or like the shadow. It's almost like a curtain, which is great. And then oh boy,
I'm trying to think what it reminds me of. Her face, that like the first facial expression you put up there, kind of gives me like Junji Ito vibes.
Yeah. There's some pretty crazy expressions, but and then there it is. Great movie. Again, I brought up some problems really I have good with it, but I want to clarify just in case anybody in the peanut gallery is confused. I love these movies. I like these movies a lot. It's just that some of the stuff with Zokin probably should have been extended. Elia probably should have had a few more scenes.
Yeah, well, I mean,
have lampshaded, but it's a good movie.
Saying that,
I like it.
You're saying that from the perspective of someone who's experienced the source material. I'm reluctant to say read being a visual novel, but I guess read the source material. But I like as a person who is anime only on this stuff, I'd be hard pressed to give this anything below a 9. Like this movie was really good, and it was good not because I had fun watching it, but like I said, like it was a solid 3 hours afterwards. I'm still just like, oh my god! Like I was sort of blown away by everything I saw in it. Like it was pretty nuts. Like I really hope that the volume 3, I guess you could call it, or part 3 can land things on its feet. But this I thought was significantly better than the first movie in that it went so much crazier than I really thought it was going to, and got significantly darker and in a way that I didn't really expect. So I don't know. Like I was pretty impressed with this one.
Yeah. So let me get into watching the third movie.
You're muted.
KJ's muted.
He's like, where's my mic button?
Mara, what's your review though, or like rating, I guess?
I can't even. I think I gave the first movie like a 9 out of 10 or something like that, close to it. This one is like pretty damn close to that, just because of how like it starts out like almost like you're gonna have some like. This is a majority slice of life type of movie, kind of the bridge between the first and the third movie, but this turned into a straight like almost like straight out of like horror movies like Insidious and the Conjuring films and everything like that. And
the brutality quotient was high.
Yeah, and then when Zokin was talking to Shiru about like Sakura, and I'm like, yeah, but Shiro slept with her, and she's actually like this, and like that's all types of fucked up. And then we get to what Shinji tries to do, and it's like, well, yeah, they weren't shying away from that stuff. But yeah, I probably get this like 8.5.
Yeah,
when you see like how the third movie does, and then just put them all together, and it's like what I would rate it as a trilogy.
Yeah, there's a lot to like.
I like what Rocksteady said.
Empire of the Trilogy.
Yeah.
It really is like the Empire of the Trilogy.
Yep.
That's tends to be the goal for a second film in a trilogy to be. Man, like even like watching it again today, I was just like, oh god. I'm gonna like stumble up to the bedroom and just like hug X-Ray Girl.
Yeah.
She's gonna be like,
Yep.
"Are you crying?" And I'll be like, "No."
No.
But it does leave you with a lot of like, I mean, for me walking out of the movie theater, we had to wait like a year for the third movie to come out. But it's like that kind of like lingered for a long time, the feelings from that second movie, and like just thinking about everything that like happened.
It's okay. I found a puppy.
Oh yeah.
That's a sign of a good movie. Is something that leaves you with like you're
Wanting.
leaving the movie theater, you're still in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Leaves you searching for puppies.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we can call it a day there, and Are we back to Sunday next week, or?
Indeed.
Yeah. So, and on the Saturday, on January 1st, KJ and I will have that New Year's Day stream where we talk about not our top 10 best anime or top 10 best movies or top 10 best video games.
Yeah.
Just 10 best of everything. So 10 things. No categories though, so we get, like mine might end up being 10 video games.
Yep.
Probably not going to be though, because although I'm probably going to cheat a bit and put on full franchises as opposed to just like specific entries. Yeah. But I guess we'll call it a day there.
And by the way, guys, please feel free to come up with a list of your own. And the rule is we're playing with donkey rules, which means it doesn't have to be released this year. It just has to be something you experienced for the first time this year.
Yeah.
So it could be something that came out in the 90s, like something on my list, which came out in the 90s, but I literally only got to it this year. So have fun with it. And we'll see you on the 1st.
Cool. And remember, everybody, there's no fate but what you make for yourself.